All right, let's get right into it. If you think the gig economy is all about cars, well, you might want to think again. There's this huge trend that's totally changing the game for delivery in our cities, and it runs on just two wheels. Today, we're going to break down how you can make some serious money delivering food, groceries, you name it, all with a bike, an e-bike, or a scooter. And I'm not talking about a small shift here. Check this out. Since just 2022, the number of deliveries made on two wheels has literally tripled on the big platforms in the US and Canada. That is a massive change in how stuff gets from A to B in our cities, and it's a huge opportunity. So how'd this happen? And more importantly, how can you get a piece of the action? So here's what we're going to cover. First up, we'll look at the boom itself. Then, why this is kind of a win for everybody involved. After that, we'll get real about the challenges, because there are some. Then we'll give you a simple starter pack to get on the road. And finally, we'll compare the top delivery apps so you can pick the right one. Okay, first, let's talk about this boom. This isn't some niche little trend. It's a really big shift in the delivery world, especially in certain cities where this whole model just makes a ton of sense. I mean, it is absolutely exploding in these super dense urban centers. We're talking places like New York, Chicago, San Francisco, DC, you know the ones. Places where traffic is just a complete nightmare. And finding a parking spot, forget about it. In those spots, a bike isn't just an alternative to a car. It's a serious upgrade for zipping through the chaos. So why is this taking off so fast? Well, the reason's pretty simple, actually. It seems to be a win-win-win situation. It's good for the cities, it's good for the restaurants and the customers, and of course, it's really good for the riders. And what's so cool is how all these benefits just stack on top of each other. So cities get less gridlock during those crazy lunch and dinner rushes. Restaurants and their customers, they get their food way faster, so it's still hot. And for you, the rider, well, speed is money. The quicker you can do your trips, the more deliveries you can squeeze into an hour, and that means more cash and better tips from happy customers. And this really shows the day-to-day difference. Just look at this comparison. On a bike, gas costs, gone. Parking, not even an issue. You don't need that crazy expensive auto insurance. And the big one, in a crowded city, you are almost always faster. Those are real benefits that you'll feel in your wallet, like every single day. In fact, we can actually put a number on that speed. A study from Axios found that on average, deliveries made by bike or scooter are a full 10% faster. And that 10% difference? That's where the extra money comes from. It's just a clear win on efficiency. So it all sounds pretty great, right? Cheaper, faster, better for everybody. But, it's not a perfect system. To give you the whole picture, we've got to talk about the other side of the coin. So let's get into the reality of the ride. Because while the opportunity is absolutely real, so are the challenges. And it's super important to go into this thing with your eyes wide open about the trade-offs. Okay, let's be real about the downsides. First off, this is a physical job, and you'll be out in all kinds of weather. In fact, the busiest times are usually when the weather is the worst. Your pay can definitely be unpredictable, and you're mostly stuck doing shorter trips. And yeah, trying to balance a massive grocery order on a bike, well, let's just say that can get interesting. Okay, so you've heard the good and the bad, and you're still thinking about it? Awesome. So what's next? Let's put together your starter pack. Just the simple, practical steps to get you signed up and out there making money. The whole process is actually super straightforward. You pick the apps you want to work for, and we'll get to that next. Then you just got to verify your ID and pass a quick background check. After that, all you need is your ride and an insulated bag. And that's it. You can log in and start taking orders. And right here, this is probably the single biggest advantage for getting started. The barrier to entry is so much lower. You don't need a driver's license, you don't need car insurance. This just makes the whole sign-up process way faster and opens the door for a lot more people. All right, and that brings us to the final and maybe most important part, choosing where you're going to work. Let's take a look at the top apps that are really driving this whole two-wheeled gig economy. Okay, think of this table as your playbook. You've got your mainstays like Uber Eats and Grubhub, which are your bread and butter for lunch and dinner. But then check out Gopuff. They do convenience items, which can be a goldmine for late-night hours. Now, pay attention to the pay structures. Instacart pays per batch, which is basically one shopping trip, but it might have orders for a few different customers. That huge pay range you see everywhere, that's your opportunity. It shows that if you work smart, if you're in the right place at the right time, you can really boost your earnings, especially with good tips. So which one should you pick? Well, here is probably the best piece of advice we found from sidehustle.com. Don't just pick one. Seriously, sign up for all of them. This is the real key to maximizing what you can make. It lets you flip between the apps, you can cherry pick the best paying gigs, and it makes sure you've always got a steady flow of orders when you want to work. Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. With the cost of gas, insurance, and just keeping a car running going up and up, you really have to wonder, are we looking at the future of delivery in our cities? It's faster, it's cheaper, it's greener. The question isn't just about a cool side hustle anymore. It might be about a real change in how our cities actually work.